YouTube, welcome in. I'm X, here with Austin,
How's it going?
RoCkstar,
What's up, y'all? Welcome. Glad to be back.
and Steve-O.
Too sweet.
And we are finally here with Ecks Squad Talk Show, episode 5. Let me start off by saying my bracket was very wrong. The Texans and the Packers are not making it to the Super Bowl. I will, however, say that I am agreeing with at least 2 of the 3 people here as part of the squad saying it's going to be the Patriots and Rams. I would love for it to be the Seahawks, so maybe Austin will come to my house and enjoy the Super Bowl with me and RoCkstar, because RoCkstar is officially coming. And I know you guys all wanted to say something about my predictions.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of like you, my predictions are still halfway possibly accurate at this point in time. Because I had picked the Bears, but unfortunately they fell along the way. So, if my current prediction is still right, I'm still calling the Patriots representing, and then I am going to have to say that the Seahawks are not going to be making it. So I don't think we'll be seeing Austin.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I gotta say, so far so good. My predictions are still on point. I got my Patriots playing for the AFC Championship tomorrow. So yeah, I got them going to the Super Bowl, and I got Austin's Rams going to the Super Bowl as well. I think it's going to be a battle of the MVPs, the top 2 MVP candidates. And if it is, I'm predicting a shootout between those 2 boys.
Somehow the fact that everybody is predicting my Rams to win somehow makes me feel less confident. But that may just be the universe coming at me. Also, regarding your predictions, X, I just got to say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It was a bold prediction. It was a long shot, but I respect you for making it. Honestly, I think we're going to have 2 amazing conference championship games coming up. It's going to be 4 of the best teams in football, so I'm excited for a week of amazing football and hopefully a really, really good Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope the Seahawks don't do to the Rams what they did to the 49ers.
God, no.
Given that we have more players on our active roster than our IR list, I think we should at least do a little better.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about Rashid Shaheed returning a punt for a touchdown, though.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Shaheed is definitely up there. Great returner and wide receiver. But I will say, I think Patriots are going all the way and winning the Super Bowl this year. Speaking of winning the Super Bowl,
I feel that to me, I feel that the one thing that is going to hinder Denver in the game is, they're missing their quarterback as well as missing Dobbins. They're just injuries going to sort of damn them on that one.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about J.K. Dobbins not being there. Bo Nix not being there is what is definitely telling me that the Patriots are going to win that game. But as far as winning the Super Bowl, let's go to Austin's first. Let's go to Austin first for his topic of the week.
Alrighty, so in the NFL, there are, of course, 32 teams that are always vying for the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season. My question is, of the 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl, that have either never been or never hoisted a Lombardi, who do you think will be the first one to get a ring? I will go ahead and go first. My pick, I've got to go with the Detroit Lions. They are a team built for success. They've been riddled with injuries and uh, honestly some boneheaded coaching decisions that I think were good learning experiences for them. But they have a roster that is set up for success and a lot of young folks still on rookie contracts. So their window isn't completely shut for them. But I think within the next 2 to 3 years, I think they do have a very solid shot at winning a Lombardi.
Nice.
That's a great answer. If I thought more, I might have picked Lions. But I mean, being a homer, being a Who Day Nation soldier, I'm gonna say the Bengals. I also kind of want to say that the Houston Texans might beat us to it, but I'm gonna say the Bengals. Our offense is off the charts. Like we just need 3 to 4 defensive players to be stars and be able to bring the Bengals up even higher than they already are. So yeah, I'm gonna say the Bengals. Whether it be next year, the year after, it's obviously not going to be this year. Yeah, next year after, I say Cincy.
See, for me, I would say the Cleveland Browns if there weren't 11 other teams that haven't already made appearances in the Super Bowl. um, but for me, I'm going to pick the team that has tied for the most Super Bowl appearances without a win. I'm saying the Bills. I think maybe here in a couple years after all the years of seeing them get beat, you know, back in the 90s, I would love to see them be able to get a Super Bowl ring and, sort of fulfill that long term dream that they've had.
I'm gonna have to agree with Rockstar on this one because that was actually what I was gonna say as well. Is the Buffalo Bills? I mean, Josh Allen. Not only that, he's come so close, and he's just he'll show. All right, look, I have to ask you guys your honest opinion about last week's game. I'm sorry, but that was some horrible officiating because I am going to say that Brandon Cooks did make that catch and was down by contact. Then the ball was ripped out of his hands. That was no way in any shape or form an interception. I don't give a rat's ass what any of the refs say. That was some really horrible officiating because that he did have possession of that football when he hit the ground.
So what's especially insane about that play to me is literally hours later, the Rams have almost the exact same play happen, and it is ruled a catch. It's like, what is like the greatest
Exactly.
question that nobody seems to be able to answer in football is what is a catch?
Exactly. Exactly. Really. I mean, I completely agree with you, Austin. I am so glad you brought that up, and I am so glad you said that because I was watching that game and also saw the exact same play happen, like he just said, and it was ruled a catch. So, how in the world was Brandon Cooks ruled an interception? It makes absolutely no sense to me. So, yes, Rockstar, I am agreeing with you. I think it's going to Buffalo for the next 2 or 3 years to get that ring.
I think
Uh,
one of the commentators even said, "I hope the Buffalo fans aren't watching right now" when they did the replay.
Absolutely.
as far as that catch goes, I was only able to watch the Rams game this past weekend or last weekend, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't see the play that you're talking about. I did hear a lot of people being being in Colorado. I did hear a lot of people talking about the refs kind of screwed Denver out of that game.
Mhm.
I mean, they still won, so it doesn't really matter that much. But uh, the refs having the hierarchy in the NFL is getting a little out of hand.
Well,
Absolutely.
but that's the thing. They've tried to fix that, over the last several years by going through and having it to where, plays have to be reviewed in New York and can be, that is determined by not only just the 5 referees on the field discussing it. It is a council of however many analysts and, specialists that are determining that. To me, I miss the old days whenever they used to go duck under the hood for 3 minutes and look at the play and what they said stood. Even back
Exactly.
then, you could have the same problems that you have now of,
Exactly.
of human error, but that's the thing. It is human error.
Exactly. That's how it should be. Human error. I mean, I know that now they want to put or they have already. I'm not sure. Put a chip into the football, so that way we know exactly where the football is, as far as like first downs and stuff goes. That's not
Yeah.
going to have any interference or any fearing on the catch or interception. What?
I I agree.
Well, no, because if that was the case, then they would be able to determine, how far from the ground the edge of the ball was on the catch to see if it did touch the ground. So,
So it might help, and it might make it worse.
how about they just wrap the ball with, some steel wool and they electrify the ground and then they play? That's some real manly ball there.
What is it?
I've seen a
Dark Knight
situation
Return?
like that where it's if you have a contested catch like that, the players just go hockey style, take their helmets off, and just fight.
Hey, you know,
I mean, and if it's no fun league, then Rochambeau for it. Like,
Yeah, Rochambeau, and then Rock is just punch him in the face.
Right.
what was it? Battle Bowl? Was that the old video game to where it's like you could do the fights and stuff like that? And
Yeah.
Blood
NFL
Yeah.
Bowl.
Blitz.
Blood, was it Blood Bowl?
Well, Blood Bowl is Warhammer, Warhammer football.
Oh,
Which, if
gotcha.
if you know NFL history, there are so many hilarious little Easter eggs in the lore of Blood Bowl.
All right. So on to the next. And our next topic is not football related. It is wrestling related, and it is from our very own Rockstar.
All right. So what I'm bringing to the table this week, it is going to be a wrestling question. It will be which wrestler's career would you have not wanted to see cut short? Not necessarily, due to death, but due to injury, possibly. And we are going to go ahead and exclude Chris Benoit and Owen Hart from the answers of this topic this week. So I guess I'll go first. My answer, uh, which I actually sort of have two answers because the first wrestler, I was very young, vaguely remember seeing them, but whenever I saw them, I thought, man, that dude is a wrestler. And that is actually Magnum TA. He wrestled in the Crockett promotions. His career was cut short due to an accident, a motorcycle or car accident. But he had wrestled in the NWA in Florida with Jim Crockett Promotions, and he was in a car crash. He was driving in a Porsche Heavy Rain in 1986, so I would have been 4 years old. So what I do remember him was very, very limited. But I remember just seeing him and thinking, man, that is a wrestler whenever I was watching wrestling. So to me, I would have loved to have been able to see what he could have done, especially and how it could impact me being a young kid. Um, then is of course more in my teenage years when I actually was paying attention to wrestling. My response for that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. I would have loved to have been able to seen his career go further because he had caught fire for only about 6 years, I think, and then had to call it due to just the injuries from that he had sustained, with his neck and numerous injuries. So yeah, my answer would be Magnum TA from what I barely remember to Stone Cold Steve Austin being the one that definitely it was a big impact.
Yeah,
Very,
I'm
very
gonna
good.
have Rockstar in this one. Mine would be Stone Cold Steve Austin as well, due to the massive injuries and the injuries to his neck that cut his career short. Like you said, he was just catching fire, and he would have went a lot more higher than where he was at when he had to, unfortunately, leave wrestling. I mean, yeah, he stuck around in the background and everything like that, and he appears from time to time. But even when he appears, he still gets that pop, and you miss it. You miss that pop. You miss the sound of the broken glass. That crowd going absolutely insane when you heard that. Just yeah, for me, I'm agreeing with Rockstar on that one. I got to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Steve-O is going with Rockstar as secondary. Um, I agree with you on that one, Steve-O. Like the pop that Stone Cold gets, even to this day, most of the fans nowadays don't even know who Stone Cold was. Don't even
Exactly.
know stunning Steve Austin.
The
Speaking of
Hollywood
Austin,
Blonde.
what is your answer?
They had to be there. My answer. So, just to add on to what we were saying about Stone Cold, I don't think nearly enough people realize that Austin 316, that the Stone Cold run from King of the Ring to his retirement, was only 7 years. We only got 7 years of peak Austin, and that wasn't including time that he had off due to injuries.
Exactly.
So the impact that he had in such a short span of time is absolutely ridiculous. I love Stone Cold as an answer. That's one that I was considering initially, alongside Eddie Guerrero was going to be one I was strongly considering. Um, though, death I feel like injury versus death is kind of a thing with this question. So with injury in mind, I went with Big E Langston.
Nice.
Big E was establishing himself as a main eventer, came off a decent but not great run as world champion, and was very much being set up to be a main eventer going forward. And the fact that he was injured in the way he was, just an absolutely tragic accident, one that I think Ridge Holland still gets way too much flack for to this day. I mean, accidents happen in this business. Big E holds no ill will towards him, and the fact that the man is still getting death threats to this day is just sickening to me. But the fact that Big E was finally reaching his full potential as a main eventer, something we've all been saying for years that he could be, and that was just stolen away, and there's a more than good chance he never steps foot in a ring again. And how much of his injury also derailed things for the New Day. I love the New Day, but they have not been the same since his injury.
They haven't. I agree with you.
Yeah.
They have.
And for me, it's just crazy how, yeah, like you said, that Ridge Holland still does get all the flack from that injury. But, then there's wrestlers like Tyson Kidd. He got injured by Samoa Joe. And I'm sure that initially there was some flack for it, but, it was an accident. It's wrestling. That's how wrestling is. You take that risk. So for
Yeah,
them to give Bridge the flack they did, yeah, definitely undeserved. And I
actually, I
was
agree.
really shocked that nobody's answer was Bret Hart,
I
getting
haven't
cut
given my
short by
answer yet.
Goldberg.
I haven't given
Oh,
my
Oh,
answer yet.
you said you agreed with Steve-O, I thought.
Oh no, I agreed it was a good answer. Um,
Oh,
I
okay.
had 8 people on my list, on my short list of people whose career cut short was terrible for the industry, shall we say. Um, my 8 people on my list were Stone Cold Steve Austin, Tyson Kidd, Jason Jordan, Corey Graves, Darren Drozdov, Big E Langston, Dynamite Kid, and Yokozuna.
oh,
What injury did Yokozuna? I thought he just, oh, was it just his, I thought it was just his knee
It was
giving
his
out over
knee and
time.
then his weight and mental capacity that was not able to bring him back.
And then he became a
However,
car salesman after he retired, right?
who?
I think.
Who?
I think Yokozuna became either a car salesman or realtor after he retired.
No, he never retired. He went off to lose weight to be able to come back because he just gained too much weight. He went off to lose weight to come back and ended up dying before he was able to come back. My secondary was gonna be Corey Graves. My answer was going to be Corey Graves. Until I realized that Corey Graves' career was just as long as Stone Cold Steve Austin's at 14 years. Like his whole wrestling career, Corey Graves and Stone Cold Steve Austin both had 14 years in this business. So I'm gonna have to go with Darren Drozdov, aka Puke, aka Draws. Unfortunately, one of my favorite wrestlers paralyzed him, that being D'Lo Brown. But he had so much ahead of him. He was only in the wrestling business for one single year. 1 year, he ended up being paralyzed after getting out of professional football, getting out of the NFL. I don't remember what team he played for, but he was in the NFL and he retired out of the NFL probably due to injury. Went to the WWF and wrestled. Hey, he had his time being Puke, being Draws as part of the LOD when they became a stable in the Attitude Era, and then he fought D'Lo Brown, got pile driven, ended up being paralyzed from the neck down, and hasn't been the same since. And he had to retire because obviously he couldn't move. Can't wrestle. You can't move. You can't wrestle. But only 1 year in the business compared to the next one was 7 years for Jason Jordan on my
Yeah.
800 list.
Wasn't Draws with the Headbangers as well? Isn't that how he was introduced to the company?
He might have been.
With Mosh and Thrasher, the Headbangers?
I remember the Headbangers. I like the Headbangers. He might have been introduced to the company that way. I don't fully remember. I do remember.
Another wrestler that would have been on my honorable mention would have been, oh God, what was his name? He wrestled in TNA, and because I remember watching the match on TV whenever it happened live, because Zima Ion jumped off the top rope and ended up his leg caught him on the top of the head. He broke his neck and was paralyzed and couldn't continue. I can't remember who that
I can't.
wrestler, what
Oh
his
my
name
goodness,
was.
I remember that. I don't remember who it was though.
I'm
Zima
researching
Ion, who is
now.
actually in WWE now.
Yeah, that's Jacqueline Wild. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Jesse Sorensen.
Yes, Jesse Sorensen. That's right.
Yeah, he was like the Miz 2.0 because he came from a reality TV show, but he went to TNA.
Yeah, because I remember watching that match live on TNA back whenever it had happened. It was at 2012 at the Against All Odds paper.
Yeah. Yep.
But still, I stick with what I said before X gave his answer that nobody chose Bret Hart
Correct.
as their answer.
Yeah.
I think that's just because Bret Hart, multiple time, well, 5-time WWF champion, tag team champion, intercontinental champion, WCW United States champion. Wasn't he also a WCW World Heavyweight champion?
Yeah, because I think he ended up, that was during the Russo era, so I'm sure
So
he held the
everybody was
title.
champion. Um,
Yeah.
he was also king of the ring. Like, him retiring didn't impact the business as much as other people.
Yeah, it feels like he was a case where he ended up retiring sort of after his prime. Though if you listen to Bret Hart, he'll tell you that he's still in his prime, and then talk crap about Bill Goldberg. Specifically Bill Goldberg, not just Goldberg.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 one, half dozen the other, as far as Goldberg goes. But on to the next. Next up, we have Steve-O's topic.
Which is who is, in your opinion, the top 5 quarterbacks of all time? And for me, I will go with my number 5 pick. I'll go backwards. So my number 5 pick is obviously Josh Allen. I believe Josh Allen is a top 5 in my opinion. Josh is great on the field, on and off the field. He is, when he's on the field, that man, when he takes off with that football, he makes things happen. I mean, he's well known for many great plays, just unfortunately not winning that Super Bowl ring yet. But Josh Allen is my number 5 quarterback. My number 4 quarterback of all time is Joe Namath. I believe that Joe Namath was you know, an average quarterback at most times, but he was also great in many other aspects when he was playing on the field. I mean, a lot of people may disagree with that, but I believe that Namath is, one of my top 5 quarterbacks from when I was a kid growing up, and from what my grandfather told me about him. I watched highlights of him, and man was pretty good moving around on the field. My number 3 is obviously Tom Brady, because Tom Brady is just, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks that I've seen. Yeah, number 3, Austin. Yeah, I know. Number 3, I know. I have 2 Patriot quarterbacks. I know. It's kind of a little, Hey, listen, I'm a hometown boy. I loved Brady. I got 20 fantastic years of Tom Brady, and I got to see him go and win one on his own in Tampa Bay. And then, eventually he walked away from football. But, hey, my number 2, Steve Grogan. I mean, how can you not have Steve Grogan as one of your top 5 quarterbacks for the Patriots? Steve Grogan. I met Steve Grogan actually in person. I have an autographed picture on my wall that he signed for me when he actually visited a local Stop and Shop in the city, and I found out about it that day and went there and met him in person. Got a chance to talk to him for a good 10 minutes. Got an autographed picture from him. My number 1, Joe Montana. Just Joe Montana, it will always be known for that 90-yard drive in the Super Bowl, where I will remember it. It's actually, I'm going to steal a line from Draft Day. I know you guys have probably all watched Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
Great movie.
I mean, he sat there, absolutely, it was great movie. When he sat there and when he got in the huddle right before that drive, he noticed John Candy in the stands, and he told his players, "Hey, isn't that John Candy?" And just like Kevin Costner said, the balls on that kid to say that at that time. And then how calm he was to lead the 49ers down the field and hit that pass in the end zone for the touchdown. Yeah, those are my top 5 quarterbacks of all time for me, in my opinion.
What an answer. Definitely a few that I did not expect. I want to go to Austin next for the for his top 5.
All right. I will start with. I'll work from 5 up to 1 as well. So number 5, I have to be a homer. I have to throw in a Ram at some point. However, I'm throwing in what I think will be an unexpected one for people. I'm going to go with Norm Van Brocklin,
Ooh,
which I know there's a good amount of viewers right now that are going to watch and say, who is Norm Van Brocklin? Norm Van Brocklin was the Rams quarterback through the 50s, which during that time they were one of, if not the most dominant football team in the world. Uh, and Norm Van Brocklin still to this day holds the record for most passing yards in a single game with 554. And he
ooh,
did that in 1951 when they didn't throw the ball. He did that when with 2/3 out of every play was going to be handed off to the fullback.
damn.
Uh, so yeah, he's a legend among Rams, and I think does need to be acknowledged when you talk about the best quarterbacks in history. He just tends to get forgotten because of his era that he played in. For number 4, I am going to go with Fran Tarkenton.
Ooh,
Uh, a lot of people only know him for losing Super Bowls, but when you look at so many quarterbacks now, as far as like the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the dual threat quarterback, a guy who's shifty on his feet and can throw an accurate ball, Fran Tarkenton kind of made the mold for what that was supposed to be. He really was the first serious dual threat quarterback that there was. If only they could have done something with all that talent. Number 3, I got to go with Johnny Unitas, one of the greatest Colts quarterbacks of all time. I personally think he deserves to be higher in the echelons of Colts quarterbacks than Peyton Manning. Personally, they're both amazing. Don't get me wrong, but there's something that every team practices now that we have Johnny Unitas to think for, and that is the 2-minute drill. When he played in his era, it was literally just, okay, doesn't matter what time's on the clock, we run our plays the way we normally do. He instilled the idea of there's 2 minutes left, run this specific drill, train it down, hammer it down, so that that is the specific drill that you do to win a game in your final drive. Number 2, got to go with Joe Montana. One of the most influential quarterbacks of all time. Like you were saying, the drive. It's not even known as the Montana drive. It's just the drive. And also for the fact that so much of the West Coast offense that really just created the model of what most offenses are in the NFL to this day. Joe Montana didn't create it, but he perfected it. He really showed the rest of the world or the rest of the country this is how you play football. And for number 1, got to go with the GOAT, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, 30 and 30. You can't repeat it. It's Tom Brady. It was always going to be Tom Brady. It's always going to be Tom Brady. You can talk until you're blue in the face about whether he was a system quarterback, whether he was a product of Belichick, or whether Belichick was a product of him. I think looking at how both their careers panned out after they separated should answer that question for people. But you can't argue with the accolades. You can't argue with what he accomplished. Do I think that he was a beneficiary to a lot of rules changes and a lot of officiating? Sure, but you don't get to be on that stage and get to play on that level if you're not able to at least back it up at a substantial level on the field.
Absolutely correct.
absolutely. It's a great list. There are a few on there that I didn't even think about, like Noah Van Brocklin. Definitely never even crossed my radar.
Be honest, did
I
you
was
know who
doing
he
some,
was before I named him?
I knew who he was.
once
I
you
have
named
heard his
him.
name.
Well, once you named him, I did some research, and actually, he was number 25 according to NFL.com's top quarterbacks of all time.
Wow.
It's good to see him getting some recognition.
Him listed on there along with Otto Graham
I mean,
and Roger Staubach.
so I'm gonna give you my top 5 now. Off of that, I actually have 2 honorable mentions now. One being Sammy Baugh, because he was just in a league of his own back in the day. It's just so much about Sammy Baugh that you need to like. I don't remember everything. I just remember he was amazing in his era. Um, go on YouTube, search up Sammy Baugh. That man was leagues above anybody else in the league at that point in time. I'm also going to mention Michael Vick as my honorable mention because before Austin mentioned Van Brocklin, was he the mobile
Fran
quarterback?
Tarkenton.
Tarkenton. There we go. I know it wasn't Van Brocklin. Fran Tarkenton. I thought Michael Vick was the originator of being, well, other than Steve Young, was the originator of being the mobile quarterback, being known more for running if need to be. If need to run, he can run. So there are my honorable mentions. My number 5, you can watch a documentary of him on YouTube. Not on YouTube, on Netflix. Jim Kelly, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, 4 years in a row, they went to the Super Bowl and lost. However, they were the best team in the AFC for 4 years in a row. Not even the Patriots in the Tom Brady era were able to make it to the Super Bowl for 4 years in a row.
Well, henceforth, why the Bills stand for, boy, I love the Super Bowls.
I mean, them being 0-4 doesn't. I mean,
Saying.
they're still the only team to make it 4 years in a row.
No other team has. Oh, I agree with you.
Exactly. So, him and his offense of quick fire offense, no huddle offense. Jim Kelly, number 5. Number 4 has been mentioned already. Thanks to RoCkstar mentioning Otto Graham. Otto Graham is number 4 for me. 10 years he was playing professional football. 10 years he made it to the championship. 7 of those 10 years he won the championship. However, if you are the quarterback of a team, you are the general, you are the leader of that team, and they make it to the championship every single year that you are their leader. That says something about them. That says something about you. That tells me that Otto Graham was ahead of his time. If Otto Graham was in the NFL nowadays, he probably wouldn't do as well because of the salary cap. But back in the day, Otto Graham led his team to the championship every single year that he was their quarterback, whether it was the AFFL or the NFL. Doesn't matter. He led them. Number 3 on my list. Never won a championship. Number 13 for the Miami Dolphins. Dan Marino. The greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. Although I guess Otto Graham could technically be part of that. He did win a championship though. But yeah, Dan Marino, first person to hit 5,000 yards in a season. Again, ahead of his time. His receivers weren't Randy Moss level. But I mean, yeah, Randy Moss level, top 4. Dan Marino, definitely number 3. Number 2, Joe Montana, because the drive and everything else he did in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Kansas City cut out. Nobody cares about Joe Montana in Kansas City. Joe Montana in San Francisco, he was the greatest of all time. Until my number 1 came around and won 6 championships. No, sorry, he won 7. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is my number 1. I think he is the greatest quarterback of all time. He read defenses. He just knew exactly what to do and when to do it. He never had the greatest, except for one season, which he lost. He never had the greatest receiving core to catch the ball. Like, Branch was great, but not the greatest. Gronk was great, I guess, but again, not the greatest. Randy Moss, one of the greatest. But Tom Brady, number 1. Joe Montana, number 2. I'm curious to see now what RoCkstar picks.
Yeah, this one, it would have definitely been a lot easier if it was, top 10 quarterbacks, because there's just been so many great quarterbacks, and, that especially that we've mentioned. For me, my sort of honorable mention is going to be Roger Staubach, for the simple fact. I mean, as far as winning percentage, he had almost a, 750 winning percentage, second only to Tom Brady. And to me, numbers do speak for themselves. But after that, my number 5, starting with that, was just mentioned by X, was Dan Marino. I loved watching him play as a kid. Yeah, he couldn't throw the ball the best, but he just watching him play, the energy was, what really did it for me as far as to get him in my top 5 list. Number 4 actually was I'm going to call it a home state for me. I've been in Colorado for 10 years. So for me, number 4 is going to be John Elway. Loved watching Elway, his play, as a kid. To me, most of my picks, I think, are influenced from just watching as a kid. But yeah, the way that he was able to command the field and sort of be that general on the field leading the Broncos was stuck in my mind as a kid. Um, I'm gonna try to say number 3 without regurgitating a little bit, but for me, I'm originally from Indiana, and the best Indianapolis Colts quarterback of all time is Peyton Manning, and I am putting Peyton Manning on my list at number 3 of the best quarterbacks. Um, his dominance on the field, and bringing the word Omaha into the game like none other. Just you know, he's probably one of the best player that Indianapolis has ever had on their squad. So to me, he does deserve to be number 3 on my list. Number 2, sort of in the same boat. His name's been mentioned. I will say for me, number 2 is Tom Brady. Yes, he numbers wise, number 1 on the list across the board. But after Deflategate, after the whole Belichick, yes, he was brought up by that and influenced by things other than necessarily his skills or dominance. And so to me, I have to put Tom Brady at number 2 on my list, which that only leaves one spot available. for the, number one is RockStar's greatest quarterback of all time. Ryan Leaf did not make the number one spot. I can't believe you guys left him off your list as well. But for me, number one, Joe Montana is taking the number one spot on that list. Just his dominance in the 90s with the 49ers, and then getting to watch him and seeing the influence he had on Steve Young following up after him. He was such a great leader that he was able to pass on his knowledge to Young to lead them to even more dominance to be able to set their legacy, basically. And then the one player that I couldn't put on my list, and I feel that they still have a lot more potential to come, is Patrick Mahomes. I think that eventually he could work his way into my top 5 list of quarterbacks, but yeah, I mean, he's on the verge. But if we're still doing this in about 5 years, he might have worked his way up there for me.
I mean, I don't know about Austin and Steve-O, but Mahomes was originally on my top 5, and then I thought about it way too much. But also, as far as the Deflategate goes, I do remember a Colts player saying on Twitter at the time that it didn't matter if they deflated the balls or not; they were the better team. That it didn't matter; they were going to win anyways. Which I was going to mention
Well, that
in
cannot
my
be
top
proven
5,
because
but forgot.
I was just saying that, yeah, that can't be proven because the balls were deflated.
I don't know about you, but I've
No
thrown
offense,
balls
Steve-O.
fully, like it's full. It is hard to throw. I mean, it's much easier to throw than a ball that has way less air.
Right, but it is one of those, it's more of repetition. If in practice you are throwing a ball that is inflated to a certain amount, your hand grip that ball the same way, and that's what causes perfection from quarterbacks, is that repetition. So therefore, if that is changed, then that would be like if you're used to shooting pool and the ball you with regulation balls, and you go for someone's house and they're using a ball that's 2 or 3 ounces lighter, it's going to roll different. It's going to take you a while to adjust.
Valid. All right. Now on to the main event of the episode. Who is going to win the Royal Rumble here in 2026? I have 2 answers for each Royal Rumble. Let's start with the Women's Royal Rumble. I think, this one is very possible. Very possible that Bianca Belair could come back in a week from today and win the Royal Rumble. I wish it would be Naomi, but she's not going to be back from pregnancy yet. But depending on what happens tonight at Saturday night's main event, it could also be Liv Morgan. If Liv Morgan does not win the tag team championships, she could very well win the Royal Rumble. Could be her versus Raquel Rodriguez or her versus Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania. Onto the men's Rumble, though. Who I really want to have win is Braun Breaker. I really want to push that dude to the moon. I think he could handle it better than Jey Uso could. I love me some Jey Uso, yeet, but I I don't think he was ready for world championship. Minor championship, yes. Yeah, he could very well be multiple time Intercontinental champion. But let's move back on to what I was talking about. Braun Breaker could very well hold that world championship, whether it be the World Heavyweight Championship and him go through CM Punk or not, or go through Drew McIntyre. He could very well do it. He could carry the company on his back. But that's who I really want to win. Who I actually think might win is Seth Rollins. I don't know how serious his injury was, if it was actually injury or not. But Seth Rollins coming back at the Royal Rumble, winning the Royal Rumble because he has not done that yet. And going on to face CM Punk at WrestleMania. Rollins versus Punk at Mania. Perfect ending to their rivalry. And yeah, that's just, I mean, Rollins versus Punk makes perfect sense. Makes too much sense. Rockstar?
I was gonna say, yeah, those definitely. I don't think Rollins is going to be back yet, but I mean, you never know. I do think his injury was legitimate, but I don't think he'll be back by Rumble. That would be cool. Um, I do agree on your pick of Braun Breaker being the Royal Rumble winner, like you said. Yeah, he does have that ability to be dominant, sort of like a Goldberg was for WCW. You know, he is sort of almost like Brock Lesnar Jr. You know, he could be a dominant force that can carry the company. Um, but he's actually my secondary pick on who I would want to win the men's rumble. My first pick is Gunther. I want to see Gunther win the rumble. I want to see him hold the title again. He's in that same boat as Breaker, except he's been there before. He's got a little bit more experience under his belt. And then eventually, I would like to see Breaker versus Gunther, and then Breaker be able to start his reign after Gunther. For the women's rumble, yeah, I've heard a lot that yes, Bianca Belair is going to be back, so she is my secondary pick on her winning. But I'm more of a Bianca fan than Naomi fan. If Bianca is my secondary pick, my main pick to win the Rumble is something they've been building up sort of a few weeks, and that is Jordan Grace. I want to see Jordan Grace versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. That is almost as good as being able to see Charlotte versus what's her name? Cargill, you know. Jordan Grace, now that she's there, those are the two most muscular women on the roster, and that would be a battle of the Titanesses, or whatever you would call it. But my number one pick to win the Rumble is Jordan Grace.
I think they would still be
To
called Titan.
paraphrase, to paraphrase Big E, some big meaty women slapping meat.
Yeah.
Very well said. I think they would still be called Titans. I personally forgot that Jade Cargill was a champion. I'm also not a Cargill fan. So, on to Steve-O.
So, women's Royal Rumble, I'll start off with first. I actually have two. My secondary and then my main, of course. My secondary, I would like to see Bayley win. I would like to see her win the Royal Rumble again and get one more chance at a title run. She deserves it. She's helped put people over, and she's helped with so many women throughout that company. I just think that Bayley deserves one last title run. If not, give her a mid-card title run if she doesn't win the Rumble. At least give her something. The girl has been pushing even more and more. Hell, she's gone to a psychotic state character. Here, after one slap, she goes into the psychotic. Well, I absolutely love it. I'm sorry. Just Bailey. But I am actually going to go with RoCkstar's pick as well. I would love to see Jordynne Grace win the Women's Royal Rumble match to go one-on-one against Jade Cargill. That is a match that needs to happen at WrestleMania. For the Men's Royal Rumble, I actually have just basically one pick, and I'm going to go with Braun Breaker as well with that because Braun Breaker deserves that push, deserves that. He's young, he's athletic, he's insane. He could very well carry the company for a long time on his back. He just deserves that. He deserves that run. He deserves to get his hands on that world title. Whether it be him going up against Punk at WrestleMania and taking it away from Punk, or Punk losing it perhaps at the Elimination Chamber and Breaker going up against somebody else for it. Only time will tell on that. But yeah, so I'm going to have to go with Braun Breaker, and I'm not going to be surprised knowing WWE. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually let Roman Reigns win the freaking Royal Rumble. But it's not something that I want to see happen because the OTC just isn't in the title picture right now. He's got other things going on. I mean, if I had a secondary option for the men, I'd have to say Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob would make a hell of a challenger for Drew McIntyre. I think he'd make a hell of a match at WrestleMania. And I think Jacob is definitely, championship material. If not now, maybe a year or two down the road, give him a chance to build himself up a little bit more. But for my secondary, I'd have to go with Fatu.
I mean,
All gas, no. You know what I mean?
I can't help but say that Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu are definitely the future of WWE. As far as Bailey's current gimmick, I don't like Lyra Valkyria being on her side or against her, whatever. I don't like Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
And her current gimmick kind of reminds me of Festus.
Yeah.
The less said about Festus, the better. But
The ballot's a slap. So yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
a bell or a slap, exactly. Yeah. I'd be okay with Bailey winning it though because I do like Bailey. On to Austin for the final answer of this episode.
All right, so I likewise have a couple answers for each Rumble. For the Women's Rumble, I could see a world where Bianca Belair ends up winning the Rumble. I could also see Rhea Ripley coming in and winning again. Those are two just steady hands in the women's division. You know they're always going to get eyes on the product. You know they're always going to put on a good match. But the one that I think they're going to go with, and I honestly have no problems with it, is got to be Liv Morgan. Liv's come back from injury with a ton of momentum behind her. Her storylines always get a lot of eyes on them, and she has been incredibly entertaining since coming back, and constantly keeping you guessing of what is going on in that little psychotic mind of hers.
Yeah, I agree.
And for the men's Rumble, who I really want it to be, who I think it should be, is Braun Breaker. So I think he sweeps. I think we all have him as our want, or close to it. But the dude is charismatic to the nines, athletic to an insane degree. He is the future of WWE, undoubtedly in my mind. Finally, a Reichsteiner has made their way to the top. But knowing WWE, knowing the system, knowing how things are going in this company and always will, it's probably going to be Roman Reigns. They got to find a way to get him into the title picture at WrestleMania. Even though, honestly, it almost feels more inorganic now than even in the Lowell Roman wins era. Um, so I really think it should be Braun. I'd be okay with it being Jacob Fatu. I'd be okay with it being Sami Zayn. What a story that would be. Sami Zayn going after Drew at Mania.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be Roman, and we're not going to like it.
See, I think that we're going to see Sami Zayn end up winning the elimination. I don't.
Oh, all right.
That's what I can see is him winning the elimination chamber and getting that title shot at Mania.
See, I think
I'd be
he's
here
gonna
for
win
it.
the Fatal 4-Way tonight and go on to face Drew at Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia for the title, therefore not being in the Royal Rumble match itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing that kept Ripley off my possibility, I mean, she is tag champs right now, so you
But-
know, I
Well,
I just feel that
all I want to say about one thing at the Royal Rumble is I do not want to see AJ Styles lose to Gunther and retire that way. I'd rather see him go out a different way. I do not want to see Gunther retire AJ. I think that they should let AJ beat Gunther at the Royal Rumble because I'm going to be honest with you, that match, as much as Gunther did dominate a little bit of AJ, AJ knew what he was doing in there, and attacking that leg of Gunther weakened Gunther big time. And I don't care, did tap out like a little bitch. Just the ref didn't see it, but he did technically tap out. And I believe that AJ should not go out that way. I think that's total disrespect to AJ. Don't do that to him. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I'm
see it happen.
50-50 on that one. I'm 50-50
so. Then,
on that
Steve,
one.
I want to ask this: who do you think AJ's final opponent should be?
I think that AJ's final opponent. Wow, that's a good question, man. That is a good
Yeah,
question.
just sort of popping it up on you. I'm that wild card, remember?
That's wow. All right. That I would love to see. I would actually love to see AJ Styles and CM Punk.
Ooh.
The best both against the phenomenal one for his final match. I think that that would make an amazing match for AJ's final match.
That would be a great match. I would love to see AJ Styles' final match be against Christopher Daniels. He is not, however, signed to WWE in any aspect. He's strictly AEW.
Yeah.
So secondary, maybe it's my own personal like. Petey Williams. Petey Williams hasn't wrestled in forever, but he is signed
Yeah.
to WWE as a backstage producer.
Petey Williams, yeah. Well known for that Canadian Destroyer.
Exactly.
Austin, what do you think?
In an ideal world, it would be Samoa Joe. No other, no other answer in my opinion. Like that is the guy. But of the current guys in WWE, I do have to agree that I like CM Punk a lot. Those two, it's crazy that they haven't had more story with each other. Just the fact that their careers never really crossed paths in a significant way once they made it to the big leagues. But yeah, I got to go with CM Punk. Let the old men go at it for a good few minutes and just have plenty of Tylenol and Salon Pause on the side.
Well, for me, I think I would say I would want his final match to be against Gunther, not necessarily at the Rumble, but that way it feeds into the Gunther being the, final match, basically taking out the legends as they are going out. That way it can build along to that.
for the
but
Grim Reaper figure.
actually, with after last night on SmackDown, I feel AJ's final match will be against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Interesting. I do think it would be very cool if AJ did finish his career at the Royal Rumble, because he started his WWE career at the Royal Rumble.
10 years ago. You're right. You're right.
But all in all, we all agree he should not retire yet.
Exactly.
And we see you in the next one.
Good night, peeps.
That was a quick bye. Deuces.